the reality is that we are facing a philosophy of law, the Iranian philosophy of law based on the safeguard of the Islamic Republic built by Khomeini. And this is why when we speak about the due process of law, the European ambassadors existing here in Geneva, they face this challenge because those who follow the UPR, the Iranians are talking about the due process of law. And what kind of due process of law we are talking about when we address the legal system, the Iranian legal system? It's a system that is built absolutely on violating the fundamentals of human rights. So when we build a state that has a philosophy of having a state violating and refusing, rejecting openly the fundamentals of human rights, then this is a serious challenge. The way forward, I think Mr. Bezed has already pointed at it. It's a fundamental change in the Iranian regime. And those who know about the constitution of the Iranian regime, it's a constitution that cannot be changed. It cannot be amended. It's permanent. So this is another challenge because we have a constitution that provides for violations of human rights, a constitution that provides for torture, a constitution that provides that no institution in Iran could change this constitution except with the representative of Allah on earth, who is the supreme leader. Having said that, I would like to point out that Kirsty earlier spoke about the evidence. Lawyers, yes, they work on evidence. When we started preparing these reports on the 1988 massacre in Iran, we had that in mind. In 2014, we had huge data related to the massacre. It's a data that could fit in tens of volumes. But in our work, we focused only on the evidence that is beyond doubt, the evidence that any court of law should entertain. And that evidence is all documented in these reports, and we produced these reports in 2017. Amnesty International was interested in looking at this evidence. They started investigating, and they produced a report of 200 pages confirming the evidence we gathered in these reports. So the crime is there, the laws are there. The United Nations also has set a framework for investigating such crimes. I would like to read for you just Principle 9 of the Principles on the Effective Prevention and Investigation of Extrajudicial, Arbitrary, and Summary Executions. These principles were set by the ECOSOC, the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations, and they were directed at the time to the Human Rights Commission before the Council. These principles, the Principle 9 reads, there shall be thorough, prompt, and impartial investigation of all suspected cases of extra-legal, arbitrary, and summary executions, including cases where complaints by relatives or other reliable reports suggest unnatural death. And this principle is very important to the 1988 massacre. Evidence, hard evidence is here. The civil society not only Amnesty International or Human Rights Watch, but also Iranian civil society has widely reported this massacre. And the United Nations Special Rapporteur has introduced for the first time this issue on its agenda, thanks to Mrs. Jahangir, late Mrs. Jahangir. She had the courage to introduce this issue on her report. I must tell you, share with you probably a little secret. When Ban Ki-moon came to Iraq in 2011, he gathered the UNAMI leadership and told us, you need to build a friendly relationship with al-Maliki, the then prime minister, who, you know about him, he was a dictator. Ban Ki-moon telling us to develop friendly relationship with such a dictator. For political reasons, of course, political expediency, we had to compromise about human rights. And this is, I guess, it's a simple guess. The current special rapporteur, who dropped the issue from his report, is also must have been subjected to some kind of pressure to abandon this issue and to take it off the agenda. To be honest, I met him and I did tell him that there is a legacy that you need to address and to follow and take it forward. The legacy is the report of Mrs. Jahangir. Why the current special rapporteur has abandoned this issue? It's an issue that he needs to reply to. The families of the victims need to know why he did that. And also the surviving prisoners, they need to know why the United Nations has dropped this item from its agenda. But I would like to remind the families of the victims that they need to report and write massively. They need to make sure that the desk of the special rapporteur should never stay free of the letters, invade him, overwhelm him with the report, with the letters, because he will be accountable. He needs to reply to those letters. And when he reports next time, he will have to mention that if he receives 1,000 letters, we expect him to put that in the report. So I will urge everybody concerned to write to the Special Rapporteur and to urge him to address the issue, to continue, and to request an independent commission to investigate this massacre. But also, we need the families to inform the whole system of the United Nations, the Iranian Monsoon, the family, the lead in this. And they have to report massively. So please do, and I thank you very much.